Thanks for watching Eyes on Texas Nation. No major introduction for this video. So the Big 10 and the Pac-12 have canceled their football season for the 2020 year. We kind of all saw this coming down the pike. We knew that if anybody would do it, they would be the first two. They canceled their season. What does that mean for the rest of football of 2020? What does that mean really for the Big 12 and our Texas Longhorns? That's going to be our major concern. So as you know, the Big 10 and the Pac-12 have canceled their season in 2020 in hopes of playing in the spring of 2021. The Mid-American Conference and the Mountain West are the two other ones that have previously done it, but the Big 10 and the Pac-12 were the first two major conferences to announce it. The first two Power 5 conferences to announce. Some say that they are being reactive rather than proactive, such waiting for the virus to dissolve rather than living with it and trying to find a solution to the problem. Texas now has implemented a 17-point code of safety against the COVID, so they have 17 points in which they try to go against the COVID for the safety of their players, for the staff, and as well for the coach as well. Anybody that is regulated to the football team, they have a strict 17-point code in which to counteract the COVID. So before I go on with this video, just kind of sort of keep this in mind. If this was to happen across any university, it would be absolutely catastrophic. It would be 100% biblical if this were to happen. Say player XYZ, right, from Chromosome University was to catch the COVID. Unfortunately, this is going to happen. And say his symptoms are much more than asymptomatic, that he actually ends up going to the hospitalized, and he gets hospitalized for several weeks. And there's the Big 10, and there's the Pac-12 just kind of sort of sitting back with their hands crossed. What's the media going to do? What's the media reaction? It's going to be absolutely through the roof. It's going to be daily. It's going to be on CNN. It's going to be on ABC, NBC, ESPN, every single news source. It's going to be all over the internet for as long as this poor individual is going to be in the hospital. And if God forsaken something else happens, this individual was to die. Keep in mind, that is a very strong possibility. And if that was to happen, if one person was to catch COVID and get hospitalized, one, boom, the season will be canceled and ended immediately. You can guarantee that. If anything goes beyond being asymptomatic and just getting a little bit sick just to be quarantined and miss a couple of weeks, the season will be canceled across the board immediately. You can take that to the bank. So moving forward, keep that in mind. So why do universities want to play college football? Why does everybody want to risk it for the biscuit? Why is this such a major, big deal that everybody's talking about it? It's very obvious. We know that answer, and the answer is money. College football is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. It creates so much money. I really can't even really explain it beyond to the point that college football is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The SEC contracts alone, the average SEC TV contract was $42 million last year. Everybody think that Notre Dame goes straight to the bank with their TV contract. They get $15 million a year. That's it. It's really going to be the SEC. The average SEC team makes $42 million from the TV rights last year. That's going to say Vandy's not going to make that, but Alabama, LSU, you know the top dogs are going to be making more than that 42. You know they're going to be in that $50 million range from the SEC, so keep that in mind. The money is the number one factor, okay? The number one problem with college football is no centralized leadership. It's all 5 conferences that have 10 to 14 different presidents that have 10 to 14 different agendas going after their own money. There is no centralized leadership. There is no centralized plan. Who is the leader of NCAA? Does anybody even know? I'll bet more people in the state of Texas know my name, and I have under 300 subscribers on a YouTube channel. Tell me if you've ever heard this name before. The leader and president of the NCAA, can anybody know his name without looking it up? You ever heard this name? Mark Emmert. Where's he? Where has Mark Emmert been out in all this? Has anybody heard one quote from him? Has anybody heard his name mentioned in one article? Have you seen him up on any stage? Have you seen him with a microphone answering any questions at all? No, you haven't. That's embarrassing. That is absolutely sad. He is the leader, the president, the representative of the NCAA, and he doesn't, I don't even know who he is. Do you know who he is? That's my point. That's my point. No centralized leadership. Nobody even knows who the leader is. Mark Emmert, I think I looked it up. He has been the president since 2010. So he has been the president of the NCAA for 10 years, going on 10 years, and I don't even know his name. Do you even know his name? Lack of leadership. Big time problem. That's going to be enough on that rant. We should have had decision makers back in April and May making decisions, implementing plans, implementing 17 points of safety. Not in July and August when it's way too late. They should have implemented a plan. They should have centralized. They should have came together to form some sort of solutions to get us going forward so we can all play. So everybody can all play and we can all enjoy a college football season in 2020. And speaking of playing, the players have centralized. Hell, 20-year-olds can come together, but we can't have a unions of millionaires with has a president for over 10 years. But anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways, the players, I'll throw it up on the screen now. Hashtag we are united. Hashtag we want to play. Basically, it's a letter. It is a source of communication that was implemented by the players, and it says simply that they want to play. It is their standards of what they want to play by. The players want to play, and they would be more safe playing in a structured environment with these points of emphasis, like Texas that has all these 17 codes of emphasis, rather than my gym, right? Like where I go to gym, it's a commercial gym, and all we do whenever we go in, we're told to wipe down our stuff before we go in. So I clean my cell phone, I make sure my keys are clean. Before I use any machine, I wipe it down. I do whatever I got to do. It's cardio. I wipe down the handles and the computer screen. If it's a weight bench or something like that, I wipe down the mat and wipe down the bar, the weights after I'm done. But other than that, that's it. I wear gloves and masks, and that is my safety. Are they going to be more safe in that environment, or are they going to be more safe in an environment under a structured code of emphasis that has a 17-point bullet point code of safety? That's going to be my point. The coaches are going to want to coach. The players are going to want to play. And these coaches are going to, these players are still going to want to work out during this offseason. They're still going to be hitting the gyms. And if they're not going to be in the gyms, they're going to be in the slums. There's some of these kids, they don't even want to go home. And that's even sad. That's going to be more on society in itself. But I heard that one player wrote on his Instagram page, please don't send me back to these slums. And that's just sad. And that's where we would be sending some of these players. So they're going to work out anyways. So it's more safe for them to be in a structured environment, in my opinion, than it is for them to be in an unstructured environment to go out to some sort of bigger, larger commercial gym to expose themselves to much more people. They're much more going to be less to contract the COVID within their own group of 100 scholarship players, let's say 15 to 20 coaches and staff, so around 120, 140 players, than around a commercial gym. I went there at 6 o'clock and it was packed, just like a normal day. You have to wait in order to get on to a machine, and the second you get off that machine, there's somebody ready to jump and it says, "Hey, are you done with that?" There's plenty of opportunities for them to get the COVID outside. There's plenty of opportunities for them to get the COVID inside. So in my personal opinion, I like the structured environment. I like the weight room environment of the college and the universities. Coming back from COVID, some models have been successful, while one model has been a failure. And to me, that one model is going to be Major League Baseball, which they implemented a 60-game non-bubble system, right? So they played 60 games without a bubble. They had so many postponements of games that the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals went week without playing one game. And to make up for that, whenever you did have to play a doubleheader, those doubleheader games were only played to 7 innings. And if any time in which a game was to go to extra innings, they did a weird things when baseball started. They started playing with a man starting out on second base just to get the game over with. So to me, Major League Baseball is an overall failure. They are looking to go to some sort of bubble format for the playoffs, I do hear, but in my opinion, thus far, Major League Baseball has been a failure. The MLS's back tournament has been great. Only FC Dallas and Nashville Soccer Club are not participating. They were ravaged by so much COVID due to, at the time of the tournament starting back, that they were just unable to participate. The NBA model is very simple. Each team played 8 regular season games. Every team that then made the playoffs then started the playoffs. They went to a bubble system, a very strict bubble system in Orlando, Florida. In fact, if you left, you had to quarantine in order to play. You had to be cleared in order to play. And whenever you were cleared to play, of course, then you were allowed to participate with your team. The NHL moved to a very similar system. They went to a 2-hub system, with their hubs being both in Canada. They went to Edmonton and Toronto as their bubble, and in their quarantine, it's very strict with the same quarantine. If you leave, you have to be quarantined before you can come back in and playing. So coming back from COVID, there were 3 successful models and there's 1 failure model. And what did the 3 successful models have in common? They all went to a strict bubble system. Well, in college football, you cannot have a strict bubble system. There are too many players, there are too many moving parts, and it can 100% not happen. So I think I can devise a way of a system of having a schedule that would start September 5th, a 9-game conference-only schedule. If you want to have a game before that, that's fine with me, whatever. You start September 5th, then you play every other week. So it would kind of sort of look like this. You start September 5th, you have that week off, then play September 19th. You have that next weekend off, you have that next Saturday off, then you play October 3rd. And then you play every other Saturday and so on. And of course, the benefits of this is not missing too many players due to COVID. And whenever you're not missing too many players due to COVID, you not have to miss and or reschedule games. Because that's going to be a big time major concern coming back from COVID, is rescheduling and missing games. This model does only work, in fact, if players are not hospitalized and or only asymptomatic from the COVID. If you're having players that are hospitalized, if you're having players that are causing big time symptoms, remember player XYZ that I spoke about, if you have a long-lasting case, the college football season is over 100%. So in my model, it allows time for players to recoup and recover so that players and teams are not ravaged 100% by COVID. So in my model, it allows that time for the coaches to segregate and quarantine at time, and it allows players and other medical staff time to recover from the COVID as well. That is the only model, the only way in which I see it happening. Excuse me, the best model, the best way I see it happening. What are your thoughts? What are your prayers? Do you have any models in which you think the NCAA could have a successful college season in the 2020 season? Do you think it's all doomed? Either way, henceforth, going forward, I'm only going to talk about positivity. So the Longhorns are talking about playing football. The Big 12 is talking about football. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about football moving forward. Keep your head in a swivel and your eyes on Texas. Hook 'em up, guys.